Hey Jade.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Hi everyone. Well, thanks for invitation and providing the space. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Um, so I guess my question today is about the time of the shadow work. So last 6 months mostly has been a lot of shadow work. Really some terrifying moments of everything falling apart. There was time that I was like physically really exhausted, couldn't work. And now I'm kind of back to work almost full time because I have to. It's not like but I have to. Yeah, still there is ongoing the shadow work happening, not like to the greatest intensity. And I know this has to all happen, and there is nothing really I can you know, stop or any make any changes to it. But there is also kind of nagging feeling of how the damn long is this going to continue on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. And so any and also right now, like I work, I sleep, eat, and I have no life. I This is it. Like this is the most important thing in my life right now. And I'm like all into this. And some days I kind of wonder, am I striving too much? Because, all these, a couple of sessions ago, you said, oh, there's nothing really to do. But, and no, I get that, it's really happening by the divine grace or the life force itself. But at the same time, it's like, I have had enough suffering. Can I get over with this? Pronto. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so there is kind of like internal debate, I guess. Yeah, am I striving too much? Is this is gonna anytime get better? You know, so I guess that's where I am today.
Yeah. Beautiful. Um, so I think that there is a time where you're intentionally kind of working toward this, where your intention is really focused on this. And then there can be this subtle shift that happens where you can sense that it's a choiceless kind of, it's just happening. Like the interest is just here and I can't really force it to be anywhere else in a way. So, and that said, so when I sometimes say like there's nothing to do, it's maybe sometimes I am speaking to that sense of control.
Mm,
Um, but you'll see that doing still happens. And then the doing is really coming from life. And sometimes it's nice to express what what's one thing that's kind of repeating for you, maybe in thoughts or something that is really that you're
mm,
really kind of struggling with. We could kind of just speak about it and then see what comes up.
mm. It's in terms of bodily sensation, it's like a knot in my stomach. It's kind of like funny in the way that before the glimpse of awakening, I really never thought I was an anxious person. And and now like almost clockwork, like I get up with a knot in my stomach and it's there, it's still there. So it's kind of like, yeah, I sometimes try to lean into where is this coming from, or sometimes I just okay, you can stay there if you need to. um it's unpleasant feeling for sure. And I guess I'm not too sure about what to do with it at this point.
Mm,
Accept it, or just time will take care of it, or yeah, I don't know.
yeah. So it's a very common thing when
Mm,
that discomfort is just kind of constantly there. You'll go through all of the different ways, like accepting it, trying to mend it in different
mm,
ways, trying to mentally figure out where it's coming from. Maybe if I change this kind of thing in my lifestyle, maybe it'll soften. So that's all very normal and natural. And then sometimes you see that you can't do anything about it. It's just there.
mhm. Yeah, yeah.
I found that, I did the same thing about different things over and over. And I kept coming to the point where it was like I couldn't manipulate the body. It's
Mm,
just there. And it's hard to mentally pinpoint exactly why sometimes. You can kind of guess, maybe
mm.
it's coming from this in my childhood or um you said something about anxiety, like having
Um, yeah, I know for sure in the initial state of the first few months after sort of awakening, it was really anxiety about unknown. Like it just felt like I'm falling apart. I'm falling into abyss that's bottomless pit.
mm,
And now like kind of, I think I have more trust and I am somewhat okay with it. Um, but I don't know if this is like an anxiety to, so what's going to happen in my relative world of reality, you know? I know like it's perfect as it is. And I know, like at the end of the day, it's all okay. But I guess, well, as we're speaking, it's kind of maybe it's more about losing control of, okay, what about next month? What about 3 months from here on? Like planning life, which there's no planning life at this point. Like I don't even know, where I'm gonna be, um, um, where my life is gonna be. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's that losing control of relative reality.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds very familiar.
Mm,
So you can also see that there is this natural fear that comes up
mm,
about just basic survival stuff and that is very understandable. That
mm.
doesn't necessarily go away. It actually, the deeper you go beyond the personal fears, the more you can see that actually there is a base fear, just animalistic a little bit.
Yeah, that's sort of a survival fear.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything about it because it itself will arise when the worry is kind of needed.
But is it really needed though? That I don't know. Like, I mean, of course I go to work, I do my stuff, then wouldn't life take care of it?
Hmm. Yeah, life
Is
takes
what I
care.
tell myself.
Yeah, yeah, life takes care of it in a way by giving you that feeling of worry sometimes.
Mm,
So I get what you're saying that you can sense that it's not really necessary, maybe because you are working and maybe you could see that you're relatively okay for now.
mhm.
Yeah, so it could also just be past remnant stuff that needs to come up and kind of burn here.
Yeah. So let it be.
Yeah, do you feel it now?
It's lessened. It's not gone, but it's lessened.
Mm.
Yeah.
So let's kind of be with it here together.
Okay.
So it's fully allowed to be exactly as it is. It doesn't need to change. It doesn't need to be a certain way. So the knot in the stomach is very normal and understandable. And it really is this sense of control that's being confronted. And it's quite normal that it would just be freaking out. Energetically, it really was used to being able to actually function from that. And it
Mm-hmm.
was not in your awareness as much because you were just able to function on top of it. But
Mm-hmm.
now you're actually stripping it to what it purely is.
Mm. Yeah. You know, Adyashanti said something quite interesting. You know, when he talks about the ground of awareness, he said it's like just about 3 finger width below the belly button. He used term for it, I can't remember. That's where the consciousness, awareness of the ground sort of energetically exist. And sort of, like where we feel that more of a knot in the stomach kind of feeling is solar plexus. And with time, that, so I guess the solar plexus is sort of our will, ego's will. And eventually as the energy of awareness, it in the lower abdomen, I guess, comes stronger or settles in, that it will replace it. I don't know if you heard of that, if that
Mm-hmm.
ever sort of makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think in different areas of the body, like shifts like that will just be taking place. It makes total sense that energetically there's a contraction when there is this appearance of a personal will that I'm in control of this life. And then when that's being confronted and it's shifting into, no, this is just life, it's not yours. Of course, those knots are going to be more apparent. And we just have to let it be there and see that actually you're okay for being here.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you. That kind of really puts mind at ease.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing great. It's really tough.
It is. It is. Some days I feel like, oh, I was the happier person
I
before the whole.
know. Yeah, yeah. Totally. I had similar thoughts too.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess it is what it is. It's not, it's life, you know, or consciousness had its own will to wake up. So
Mm,
yeah, I kind of feel like it wasn't something I was striving for, but it's just life force itself. And I really have to go along with it because I don't really have a choice.
mhm. Yeah. But what
Yeah.
you said is very common. Of course, you're going to feel a little bit confused and a little bit disempowered at times
Mm.
because you're not able to willfully act from a projection of the mind because it's just like that's made up. I just don't know. No one knows what's going to happen in the next moment, actually.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's kind of I think it's in between space of yes, I am aware or myself or ego is aware it's losing control. I don't know where it's headed, but the whole really the presence hasn't really like taken over. Just kind of like in the midst of that, I
Mm.
suppose.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not really a fun place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
But thank you. Like this, you know, talking with you and the sharing with other people helps a lot. I
Mm.
think.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you so much. That was really beautiful.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, Jane. How are you?
Good. How are you? I have a question. Just hear what your conversation. So, so the sense of me it is also you can say is equal to the attention. It's equal to those senses: hearing, smell, taste. Can I say that?
Yeah, in a
Equal
way, you can say it's all energy. Yeah.
because we cannot get rid of the sense of me because that's like strengthen the sense of me. So we cannot do anything to get rid of the sense of me, right? So in this sense, the sense of me actually equal to the other senses, hearing, taste.
Mm, there's nothing wrong with trying to get rid of the me. That is the same energetic sense. It just wants to get rid of itself. But there's nothing really wrong with that. It's kind of understandable at times. Um, yeah. It's so that sense of here-ness, um, like it'll just give more solidity to all of the senses as if it's as if it's really coming from here. Like I am hearing that bird, but in actual reality, it's just pure sound. And that's also a label. That's a term. So even beyond that, it's just pure energy, unknown. And yes, this is hard to mentally understand, but it's the same as smell, as sight, as taste, as touch. Like it's just all boundless energy.
Okay. Okay. I just want to see how you're gonna comment.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much, Jane.